Hi, you're probably not used to these kind of videos from me, so apologies for the sudden change, but I just had to take the time to rant and rave about one of my favourite RPG series of all time. It's the Atelier series developed by Gust, more specifically, the Atelier Dusk DX Trilogy, which is out now for Switch, PS4 and Steam. Full disclosure, a huge thank you to Koei Tecmo Europe for the review code. I really appreciate the chance to promote these gorgeous games. I'm just gonna save you some time right off the bat. Yes, you need to buy this trilogy. It's my favourite Atelier trilogy to date and a great starting point for new players, as well as being worth playing or replaying for Atelier veterans. If you recently jumped on the Atelier train with Atelier Ryza, as I'm sure many people did, this trilogy is honestly a great next step. I feel that it reaches a perfect balance between what makes Atelier Atelier and a more standard, traditional RPG series. So, there's a few Atelier trilogies out there at the moment. The gameplay in these games is a bit more combat and exploration heavy than the previous Arlen trilogy, pictured here. And it also has a drastically different art style. Both styles are beautiful, but I feel Dusk's is definitely a tad more neutral and appeals to a wider audience. The overall visual direction throughout the three games is amazing, with a hand-drawn vibe and detailed, intricate character designs. To give a little context of the individual games themselves, the Dusk DX trilogy consists of these three games: Atelier Aisha, the Alchemist of Dusk, Atelier Eska and Logi, the Alchemists of the Dusk Sky, and Atelier Shali, the Alchemists of the Dusk Sea. An interesting difference in the Dusk trilogy is that there's a noticeably darker undercurrent compared to the previous Atelier games. The dusk is a phenomenon slowly enveloping the world, causing water sources to dry up and land to decay. Essentially, this creates an actual urgency and demand for alchemy. A few key characters then try to solve the mystery of why this is happening and how it can be fixed. With the Atelier series, these kind of dark themes are relatively new. It's not usually an end-of-the-world kind of affair. These are still Atelier games at their core, which means a lot of light-hearted slice-of-life scenes and character development. The majority of the time, when not doing typical RPG stuff, the games will focus on the characters' everyday lives and ambitions, but there's always a sense of something darker going on in the background. I really appreciated the Dusk scenario and the contrasting atmosphere it creates. All three games have such a relaxed atmosphere and it kind of mirrors real life, where we have these horrendous things happening, but the characters have well-rounded and sometimes quirky personalities, and aren't always angsty and serious 24/7. Recently, due to Atelier Ryza, there might be a lot more new fans interested in the series. Ryza was definitely a bold new direction for the series, however I actually prefer a lot of elements in the Dusk trilogy. As I touched on before, the Dusk games really take their time to build up the characters and let them interact with one another. If you like the cute or funny skits in Tales games, you won't be disappointed here. In every chapter you're given the freedom to either synthesize items, battle, or just explore the town to see character events. There's always optional events and dialogue to unlock, and it gives a nice insight into who these characters really are. The gameplay loop involves item crafting, battle, side events, main plot, and it gets really addictive to slowly unravel the plot alongside all these other elements. In Atelier Ryza, I felt that I didn't really get to know Ryza and her friends at all. It's one thing I'd kind of hoped to see more of, like in the Dusk trilogy. Speaking of characters, I do want you to play these games so I won't spoil too much, but I'll give a very quick summary of the protagonists in each one. Aisha, in the first game, is a ditzy young apothecary who makes medicine in her remote middle-of-nowhere workshop. She's instantly likeable and so is the main cast. A key mystery in the game is Aisha's younger sister, who suddenly and mysteriously goes missing. In my opinion, Aisha set up the Dusk scenario brilliantly and created so much intrigue and potential. I would suggest starting with Aisha as, in my opinion, it has the strongest plot and soundtrack. All three games are incredible, but there's something about the lush, layered style of instrumentation in PlayAsia soundtrack that hits my sweet spot. It's folksy and upbeat and really varied. Eska and Logi, the dual protagonists from the second Dusk game, are both great as well. You can choose to play as either one. I believe Eska's point of view and soundtrack feels a bit more traditional Atelier, or girly if you want to label it as that, while Logi's themes are a bit jazzier and subdued, and kind of cool. Their personalities are perfectly suited for one another and balance each other out to create a really nice dynamic. For anyone hoping for some slight, and I said slight, romance in an Atelier game, this complete version of the game does have a few heart dialogue options here and there, which lets the two of them get closer. Nothing intense, so don't get your hopes up or anything, but people would have shipped them regardless, so, you know, a few more little tidbits. Atelier Shally also has two protagonists to choose from, Shalistera and Charlotte, who both conveniently abbreviate to Shally, hence the name. Each Shally has completely different personalities and backgrounds. I loved Charlotte, the green-haired girl, as her goals and personality seemed a lot more relatable. She's just trying to get by and hasn't found her path yet. It seems at first like she's just obsessed with earning money and working, but I do love how her story unfolds and how she starts to find things to care about. It's so much more well done and well written than the mysterious Atelier Trilogy, in my opinion. The other Shally, Shalistera, I don't know, she was kind of a tad bland to me. This is really subjective and you might like her, just my personal opinion. Shally was probably my least favourite of the three games and I'm not entirely sure why, but it's still a great addictive game with arguably the most refined gameplay of the trilogy. With each subsequent game the stakes gradually get higher and more intense plot events unfold, but you'll still get the slice of life humour and beautiful event scenes to unlock around the town. Stuff like drinking contests, random town events. All of this paired with the soundtrack just makes the world and characters super lively and charming. The gameplay is significantly more polished in the later two games compared to Atelier PlayAsia. Atelier Eska and Logi still features a time limit, but it's a much more lenient one than PlayAsia. You have specific focused goals to complete every chapter, and then once you complete them, you're free to do whatever you want for the rest of the available time. This means there's definitely less constant time management involved. Atelier Shally removes the time limit altogether. Apparently if you take too long their motivation level goes lower, but overall there is no time limit in Shally, and this is both a pro and a con in my opinion. It feels a little directionless across the board. Not that I didn't really enjoy Shally. I don't think any of the games are particularly difficult. Even if you want to get all the character events and endings, it's not that hard to get everything done in a single playthrough. There's also the New Game Plus option, which lets you keep your amazing equipment and items that you've synthesized, and blitz through your next playthrough if you're into that. The beauty of Atelier is the item crafting known as alchemy. You don't have to sit and craft the perfect items to get through the main story, but it's really rewarding to mess around with the alchemy and make stronger stuff. It's another element of the games which can get super addictive once you get the hang of it. Atelier Rise's synthesis was very simplified in comparison to this trilogy. Again, you don't need to put that much time into it if you don't want to, but just look around for higher quality ingredients and items, and you'll be surprised at how much difference it makes in battle. In the Arlen trilogy, it felt a lot more trial and error and a bit overwhelming if you wanted to make great items, which is ironic because those games also have stricter time limits. There are pros and cons to both trilogies, but Dusk just seemed more accessible to me, a happy medium between Arlen and Riser. It's worth stating that with these definitive versions of the games, there are extra scenes added to round out the story and create more of a satisfying conclusion in the third game. Certain characters now make a return appearance, which felt very much needed. This was also the case in the Plus versions on PS Vita. The only difference between the Plus versions on Vita And these DX versions, as far as I know, is the ability to speed up battles and speed up field movement so that everything's just a lot smoother. Overall, if you have to buy them on Vita, you're not missing a huge amount, but just having them on current gen consoles with a higher resolution and for Switch being able to be portable or home console is just, you know, pretty good. If you don't play these games for anything else, not even the lovable characters, nor the charming art style or addictive alchemy gameplay, please play them for the soundtracks. I actually made a separate rant and rave video just about the game's soundtracks, since this one was getting way too long, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check my other video out too. I apologise for this directionless, long rant, rave, review, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully some of my passion and love I have for the games makes you want to try them too, or if you've already played them, I hope you rebuy them and support this amazing series by Gust. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and let me know if you ever want any more videos like this one. Bye!